Hello again, everyone. Now, for my latest video essay, I'm going to be highlighting what I consider to be 10 gems of world cinema. Now, this is by no means a definitive end-all, be-all, greatest foreign language films of all time list. No, nothing that grandiose. Rather, this is a list of films that have stayed with me long after I finished watching them, and I encourage you to watch each and every one of these films when you get the chance. And if you just so happen to have seen any of these films, I'd love to hear what you think about them in the comments below. So please sit back, relax, and enjoy these foreign language film recommendations of mine. The first gem on this list is The Hunt, a 2012 Danish film directed by Thomas Vinterberg and starring Mads Mikkelsen, the current Hannibal Lecter, as well as the star of such distinct films as Valhalla Rising and Casino Royale. Mikkelsen stars as Lucas, a school teacher who is falsely accused of sexually assaulting a young girl. Gossip and terrible rumors about Lucas spread like a virus throughout his small-town community, and he is treated as a pariah by everyone he knows. Old friends become new foes, and even when the facts of the situation come to light, seemingly everyone's minds are totally made up. It is said that the worst thing that one can do to an innocent man is accuse him, and while watching The Hunt, you can't help but feel absolutely indignant at Lucas's plight as he deals with abuse towards his very character, his person, and even towards those who defend him. Mikkelsen's sympathetic performance gives the film the emotional weight it needs, and the film serves as a hard-hitting glimpse into the effects of social stigmatization. In recent years, vampires have had quite the fun underneath the pop culture sun, so to speak. From Twilight to True Blood, to vampires publishing their own diaries, there has been no shortage of bloodsucker lore both on the screen and on the page. The 2008 Swedish film, Let the Right One In, is definitely one of the most unique examples of vampire fiction. Based on the novel of the same name by John Lindqvist, who also wrote the screenplay, the film centers on the relationship between two children, the introverted and bullied 12-year-old Oscar, and Ellie, a preteen girl who is just like any other girl her age, aside from some vampiric bloodlust, being impervious to the frigid cold weather, and only being able to walk around at night. Nothing out of the ordinary. The rapport between its two young leads is what drives the film, and to use a familiar cliche, both of their characters are opposite sides of the same coin. Loneliness, fear, and an attraction to violence are aspects that draw them together. Let the Right One In is a dark and complicated tale that is small in scale, but colossal in its impact. This film was also remade in an American version titled Let Me In, released in 2010. The word epic has been bandied about so many times for so many unworthy films that it seems as if it has lost all meaning. However, that is totally not the case for John Woo's Red Cliff, a monumentally epic undertaking of a film, and I'm referring to the original international version of the movie, not the 2.5-hour glorified movie trailer that is the stateside version. Get that one out of your head, please. Nearly 5 hours in length and split into two parts, Red Cliff depicts the Battle of Red Cliffs and the events surrounding the end of the Han Dynasty in China over 2,000 years ago. Complete with masterfully choreographed and breathtaking battle sequences and loaded with intrigue, the film expends no wasted minutes in its grand, sweeping tale. Be sure to clear your schedule before you journey towards Red Cliff. Picturesque and enthralling, the Italian feature I Am Love is wonderfully led by its centerpiece performance by Tilda Swinton as Emma Recchi. In Milan, the Recchi family begins to undergo some significant changes that affect each of its members in unforeseen ways. Emma Recchi's marriage has cooled from a passionate union to uneventful space occupying, and her grown children collide with the generational issues of change versus tradition. A synopsis of the film's narrative is unnecessary, as it is better to allow yourself to be swept in by its energy, as well as its excellent score composed by John Adams, which I actually listen to from time to time, and you should too. Watching Le Havre reminds me of watching Jim Jarmusch's films. Minimalist flavor with understated humor and quirky, engaging characters to boot. Written and directed by Aki Kaurismäki, Le Havre unfolds in the French city of the same name, and it follows a man, Marcel, who leads a simple life of shoe shining with his wife. He encounters an African boy, Idrissa, who is being pursued by the authorities for being in the country illegally and decides to protect him. A charming little film that avoids cheap sentiment and dour cynicism, Le Havre deserves your attention if you're in the mood for a film that will leave you with a smile. Director Paolo Sorrentino's The Great Beauty certainly lives up to its title, as it is one drop-dead gorgeous motion picture. Winner of this year's Academy Award for Best Foreign Language Film, The Great Beauty can be best described as Fellini-esque, and comparisons between this film and Fellini's 8.5 and La Dolce Vita are inevitable. Tony Servillo stars as Jep Gambardella, an old socialite/writer whose existence revolves around the nightlife of Rome, narcissistic pseudo-intellectuals, and, well, not much else really. When all of the glitz and glamour of the high life, the parties, the women, the booze, the Botox, etc., are stripped away, of what consequence was Jep's entire life? Besides one novel that he wrote many decades ago, what did Jep actually accomplish, and to who does his life have any meaning? Such are the existential considerations that the 65-year-old deals with in his own sardonic fashion. Eschewing a straightforward narrative in favor of episodic thematic explorations, the film encourages you to return for a second, third, and even a fourth viewing. Considerable props have to be given to cinematographer Luca Bigazzi for his pulchritudinous work in this film. I mean, talk about beautiful. Nearly every shot in The Great Beauty is an optical banquet, and you could take any of these shots and put them up as your desktop wallpaper if you wanted to. For over 40 years, the legendary Senegalese filmmaker Ousmane Sembène crafted such notable films as Black Girl, Mandabi, and Zala. His final film, Moulad, was released in 2004, 3 years before his death in 2007 at the age of 84. Filmed in a village in Burkina Faso, Moulad tackles the horrific practice of female genital mutilation, or FGM. A group of young girls seek the protection of Kale, a woman who evokes Moulad, a village law that prevents anyone from taking the girls away as long as they remain in Kale's home. At its core, Moulad is a film that is primarily about the questioning and defiance of patriarchal beliefs and cultural norms. What is a woman's worth in a place where their worth is determined solely by the suppression of their sexuality? In the clash between tradition and change, which of the two will ultimately prevail? Ousmane Sembène's film addresses these questions and more with intelligence and grace, and Moulad is a film that deserves to be much more widely known in the public consciousness, beyond film circles. And the same can be said for the rest of his work. Now, I just love the works of Pedro Almodovar, the writer and director of such jewels as All About My Mother, Volver, and Broken Embraces, and his 2002 feature, Talk to Her, ranks as my absolute favorite of his catalog. In this film, we follow the lives of 4 characters. We have Marco, a journalist, and his girlfriend Lydia, a famous matador who ends up in a coma after being gored in a bullfight. Ouch. Then we've got Benigno, a nurse who happens to be infatuated with one of his patients, a ballet student named Alicia, who is also comatose. By chance, both Marco and Benigno cross paths, and they gradually build a friendship over their mutual devotion to their women, who may never even learn the full extent of their devotion to begin with. Talk to Her is a myriad of things. It is a richly designed melodrama as only Almodovar can provide. It is a story about the blurred boundaries between love and obsession, and it is a story that skillfully walks the line between the delightful and the lurid. And some of the directions that the film takes ranges from shocking to heartwarming. Earning high critical praise, the film went on to win accolades such as the Best Original Screenplay Oscar, as well as the Golden Globe for Best Foreign Language Film. For those who are not familiar with any of Almodovar's films, Talk to Her should be your introduction. It's a great one. Asghar Farhadi's 2011 Iranian feature, A Separation, was one of the most critically acclaimed films of 2011, winning the Oscar for Best Foreign Language Film, and with good reason. The film centers on the rising tensions between a separated married couple, husband Nader and wife Samin, which stem from Samin's desire to move abroad so that their daughter could have better opportunities. Nader refuses to move because he needs to take care of his father, who's suffering from Alzheimer's disease. Their problems worsen shortly after Nader hires a caregiver, a woman who has her own bundle of issues to worry about with her own family. Inevitably, all things, as Chinua Achebe once said, fall apart. A Separation is an impeccably directed, intelligently written, and brilliantly acted drama which spotlights the uncomfortable conflicts between the truth, the law, and religious values via its central characters. And as we watch the film, we may side with certain individuals, but we feel empathy and come to understand the perspectives of everyone involved. The film does not leave you with clear-cut moral judgments of these characters, and it leaves you to ask yourself, just who was ultimately in the right? In addition to this film, I also encourage you to check out Asghar Farhadi's 2013 follow-up, The Past, starring Berenice Bejo from the sublime silent feature, The Artist. Finally, we come to my 10th recommendation, which is the awesome 2009 Argentinian thriller, The Secret in Their Eyes. Directed by Juan Campanella, the film follows a retired criminal investigator, Benjamin Esposito, who is attempting to write a novel based on an unsolved rape and murder case over 25 years ago. Weaving back and forth between the 1970s and the late 1990s, the film sees Benjamin trying to put the pieces together of the case, from encountering the dead woman's grieving husband to running into some bureaucratic brick walls along the way. Additionally, the film also follows Benjamin's colleague, a legal assistant later turned judge Irene Hastings, who also works on the case. And after over 25 years, unrequited and unspoken feelings still linger between Irene and Benjamin. The Secret in Their Eyes is an A+ production from top to bottom. This film enraptures with its thoroughly engrossing mystery, exemplary performances, and incredible direction. Visually, the film is exquisite, at times evoking the feel of a classic noir. There's also a jaw-dropping 5-minute long take in the middle of the film which sees Benjamin pursuing a suspect through a crowded soccer stadium, and this sequence alone has to be seen to be believed. I give my highest recommendation to The Secret in Their Eyes, and it is a film that should not be ignored. Please treat yourself by checking this one out, post-haste. Alright party people, so there you have it, my list of 10 world cinema recommendations for your consideration. And as you may have noticed, I decided to limit my scope within the last 15 years or so. Otherwise, I'd have to go all the way back and recommend films by Bergman, Kurosawa, Truffaut, Jean-Pierre Melville, etc., all the usual suspects. But nonetheless, you should definitely check out their films as well, if you have the time. And who knows, maybe I may revisit any one of the films that I talked about in this video as a full-fledged video essay. Depends on where the wind blows. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I'm Victor Omoayo, and you can find more video essay goodness right here on the Victor Omoayo channel.